Welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm John Bachman. A lot of the conversation surrounding the partial government shutdown deals with the Republicans and the Democrats who are still unable to come to an agreement. Then there's the government workers like the TSA, the border agents, and even the Coast Guard who are working but not getting paid. And then there's another group of people impacted by the shutdown. They're not getting a lot of attention, not the same kind of attention, that's for sure. We're talking about small business owners and their employees. And joining us now to discuss this is the president and the CEO of the Job Creators Network, Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo, thanks so much for coming on. Interesting to talk about this subject.
John, absolutely.
Talk about some of the most acute examples of small businesses being hurt by the shutdown.
You know, I think overall, I mean, when you look at the shutdown and the impact that it is having on small businesses, it really is having an obvious impact on the surrounding areas of the capital, of course, in D.C., Virginia, Maryland, et cetera. But the one thing, John, if you really think about it, as on a relative basis across the country, small business is all about local business. And so really the impact across for small businesses across the country isn't actually as great, I think, as people are making it out to be. Obviously, from a surrounding standpoint around the capital, like I said, it is obviously having an impact. Uber drivers, for example, Lyft drivers, I mean, I go back and forth in the city, and that, you know, they obviously have mentioned that their ridership is down from that perspective, and that makes sense. But, you know, I think, again, when you look at it on a relative standpoint as a percentage of the entire economy, what we're talking about, it really is a small number. You know, the concern, obviously, is with TSA agents and stuff like that, is that impacts air travel, of course. But, again, I think in the end, you know, you got still great fundamentals going from the economy. You still got, strong growth rates. Our small business owners continue to hire. And, you know, a lot of cases, I think, you know, here for us in the bubble, as they say, we see it as an enormous impact. But outside of the bubble, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, you can think about there's certain small towns. A lot of there's some federal prisons in small towns around the country, and federal prison guards, they're not getting their paychecks, you know, and that can really hurt small business. But it's an interesting point you bring up there, because the economy is in pretty strong shape. But another area where we're seeing this ripple effect, there are small business loans. There's about 200 businesses nationally that are waiting on loans. I can only imagine what that's like for these businesses. But talk about how this can create, you know, a ripple effect in the community when you have certain businesses that can really be a huge economic driver in that community, but those people are not getting paid, or they can't get the loans from the Small Business Administration.
From the SBA, yeah, you know, that's an interesting point. I know some businesses are really tied up right now waiting for some of those loans from SBA, but if you actually look and you go back to the Obama administration, and when you look at what happened with Dodd-Frank, you know, about 2,000 community banks actually closed at that point. So small businesses, quite frankly, were having a very tough time getting loans from there. So actually what ended up happening over the past several years is really the growth of fintech. Really, you know, technology online, financial loans online. And so what we're hearing is a lot of our small business owners are really actually just switching over to some online loans to really kind of get them through this period. And so I actually think it's an interesting, period for this, fintech growth, because I think more small business owners are going to become familiar with that. They're still a little unfamiliar and uncomfortable with that, but I think if this shutdown continues, we're going to start seeing more of that shift.
Yeah, a silver lining there for sure. Businesses that might be uncomfortable with that space, willing to try new things because times are a little desperate. That's maybe a silver lining there. But I wanted to go back to something you were talking about for the last 30 or so seconds we have left. Yeah. Aside from the shutdown, what is the economic forecast like for small business owners in America right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, our small business owners actually really continue to be optimistic about what's going on. They continue to hire. I mean, there's 7 million unfilled jobs out there. The biggest issue, quite frankly, that's challenging small business owners is the lack of a skilled labor force. And so we really want to make sure that that actually is addressed, because we need more skilled labor force in this country. And so outside of that, again, people are hiring, small businesses still feel good. I actually think in the first quarter of 2019, we're going to start seeing more small business activity because some of the rulemaking really was deferred until the September of 2018. So some small business owners didn't actually take full advantage of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, and I think we're going to start seeing them do that in this first quarter.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of hidden benefits in there. You really need a sharp accountant to know some of them. And Newsmax has a good book about it, too. Just want to throw that out there. Alfredo Ortiz, thanks so much for coming on.
Your viewers to go there, then.
Yeah, great to see you, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon. All right, coming up, we're going to catch you on some of the stories that we think you need to know a little bit more.